Hey there, welcome to Hiker Homily number 47. We are kind of moving along for the year. As you can see when I'm shooting this, it's December, right around the old holiday season. Hey, today I want to talk about, in this Hiker Homily, food. Food for hiking and backpacking. And it is wild and varied. First of all, though, the first thing I want to get in there is this is not an endorsement or a commercial for any specific types of brands. I'm going to show some examples of some of the things, and I am not advertising for those companies. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, anything like that. This is just the kinds of food that I happen to use on the trail. I've had good or sometimes bad experience with, and we'll talk about that. And just the kinds of things that I suggest work for backpacking trips and even day hikes and stuff like that. And so with that out of the way, I just wanted to make sure there's no sponsorship here. I'm not saying that this specific brand, if I show anything, is the one to get. You know, if you have certain brands that you prefer or have heard of, as far as I know, there's nothing wrong with them. Go for it. So as far as basic hiking food, let's start with day hikes. Day hikes, you're usually going to need maybe a meal, or sometimes for me, I'm only hiking in the morning. I'll do a few hours in the morning if I'm doing like 5 miles and stuff. That's only going to take me an hour and a half, 2 hours if I'm going really slow or doing the elevations or whatever. But I'll generally start my hike around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be done generally by about 10. So I might need, basically just a light snack. And for me, a light snack on the trail will be something very simple. Like, for example, cheese. In the stick form, I'll bring one with me, maybe two, and then I'll have it like when I'll hit my halfway point. I'll celebrate with that. Also, sometimes a good old beef stick or a pepperoni stick. The small ones like this work great for very short hikes and stuff like that. And then you always have various types of energy bars or protein bars, things like that. Most of them that I've tried anyway are fairly tasty and they work well, and those are good for short hikes. Longer hikes, I'm going to bring maybe a little bit more of the stuff that I mentioned. Instead of 1 or 2 cheese sticks, I'll have 3 or 4. I'll have several beef sticks with me. Maybe I'll start to supplement things like maybe I'll bring myself a tortilla, and I'll bring some peanut butter that I can spread on the tortilla and make myself a little peanut butter sandwich. Things like that. If you really want to go for it and you're going to be out there all day long, you always have the option of doing more of a meal and stuff. And then of course the old trail mix is always a good option for any kind of a hike, just to have as a snack. Other things that work well if you don't want to go for a full trail mix, a Snickers bar works pretty well, or something similar to a Snickers bar. Just like I say, generally peanut butter, almonds, nuts, cashews, peanuts, any kind of nut like that gives you good energy and things like that. If you just want to buy the individual packages of just those would also work good as snacks. Now, moving into shorter backpack trips, there's all kinds of, and I don't have an example of it with me right now, but there's all kinds of backpacker food. You see them in the sporting goods stores and things, and I believe even the big box stores, some of them will sell them and things like that. And there are several brands of those. I'm not going to advertise any specific brand, but the actual dehydrated backpacking food does work. Sometimes those are hitting $8, $9 for a meal. And so if you're going to go on a long backpack trip, that can get expensive if you're exclusively eating those. But just do understand that there's other options out there. For any length of backpack trip, you've always got the dehydrated mashed potatoes. These are really good because they're relatively light. This particular bag is 4 servings. So if you're out there hiking and you're trying to get calories, and you can down this whole thing once you've got it. All you need is some warm water, add to it, and they come in different flavors. Again, not particularly advertising the brand. There's a lot of different types out there. This is just the kind that I use. But they come in various flavors, and quite often I can get these on sale at a local store. I believe these I got on sale for something like 78 cents or whatever plus tax. So slightly under $1 per thing, and I get 4 servings out of this. Which, if I'm going to be doing long distance hiking, 4 servings, you're going to eat all 4 servings for dinner because you need that many calories to keep going. Or for short trips, I could do up this and cut it in half. If I have a hiking partner, we both have some of this for dinner. So we each have 2 servings after doing a short hike or something like that. All I need is hot water, and bang, you've got it. Okay? So that works. You also have, as an alternative to backpacking food, there's all kinds of dry foods out there that all you need to do is, again, add hot water. I know some of these say you're supposed to put butter in there or something like that, and really that's more there to be kind of a thickening agent to kind of coat the pasta and thicken the sauce a little bit. You don't have to do it. I know because I've done it. So you get this wet with hot water. I believe this kind you can actually cold soak as well and just eat cold. These also can be eaten cold if you have to, if you're able to stomach it. Some people can't do that. It doesn't bother me. These actually taste fine without being used in hot water. So if I wanted to cold soak, or I was just in a pinch that night and just don't feel like getting out the backpacker oven and getting it cooked the stove, I could just add just regular water to this, stir it up, and eat it. It didn't have to do things like that. And so this can be cold soaked as well. But generally you add hot water, boiling water, and it gets it going, and awesome, you've got yourself a meal. And again, this I can get for somewhere around $1 and things like that. And serving size, this is about 2.5 servings in this bag. Okay, so again, on long distance hiking, you're needing those calories. You're going to need more than 1 serving for your meal. So you'd probably eat this whole thing, 2.5 servings and stuff like that. Getting into some other stuff, I would suggest something like this for only a short distance backpack trip. I used these on the Lost Coast Trail because that was only a 3-nighter. The problem with these is these are ready to eat. They are not dehydrated, and so they come with some weight, okay? Compared to something like this, which is totally dried out, or like this, which is powdered, there's hardly any weight here. This comes with some weight, and so too many of these, you're weighing yourself down. But if you're only going out for a few days and you just I need 2 dinners and a couple of this, these would work okay. And the thing about this is they're very easy. I can either heat this up by basically boiling some water, and then this is a pouch that can handle heat and things like that. So I put it in the water, and it will heat up on the inside as it's boiling or something like that, or something. Basically it can be heated up that way, or it can be eaten cold. You don't have to. If for those of you who don't want to bring a stove with you when you're backpacking, and there's plenty out there who do nothing but cold soaking, this would work because you don't even have to soak it. It's already got the liquid in it. Like I say, it's kind of heavy, but you just tear it open and you can eat it directly. These worked great for me on the Lost Coast Trail because, again, there were times where I was so tired at the end of the day, I did not have the gumption to put together my stove and want to heat anything. I just tore one of these open and spooned directly out of it, just eat it. Good stuff. And it was tasty, too. It's tasty. There are several types from this particular company that were different flavors and stuff. The Bombay potatoes particularly were pretty good. They were filling and came with the spice. Now, again, for long-distance backpack trips, light meals and things like that, there's the old ramen. I know there's some backpackers out there going, oh, I'll never eat ramen again. Because if you're going on a long distance, you eat a lot of this when you're on a long distance thing, and I get it. It's hard. There's also some controversy over how healthy the spice packets are. The ramen itself isn't a big deal, but the spice packets containing MSG and things like that could be problematic. And if that's an issue with you, that's fine. Don't use those spice packets. It is very easy, even long distance backpacking, to put together your own spice packets or buy spices or flavors in small things. You can get from fast food places things like hot sauce, sriracha, all kinds of things now in little packets. Bring that stuff with you. And then you just soak the ramen and add your own flavors. And speaking of adding, you can get things like this nowadays. Now again, these are not dehydrated, but there's only a little bit in here, so it's not too heavy. So even on long distance trips, this will work for longer packs because they're not bad, but they come in a variety of flavors, and there's both chicken now and tuna. So you have various, and I believe there's also some that come as salmon and things. Again, when you're doing long distance backpacking, you want those calories. These really will help add the calories and things like that, and they supplement the taste of even stuff like this. You could add it to the potatoes, you can add it to rice or any kind of pasta or noodles that you're going to either cold soak or cook and get it going. You add one of these packets and bam, you've got a whole different meal there with some different flavors, added calories, good stuff. And breakfast, you have a bunch of choices. Number one, you have the old hiker's breakfast burrito, which is basically you take either peanut butter or Nutella, which you can get in small packs. You spread it on a tortilla, and tortillas are fantastic because you can put them in your pack. They do all right, and that takes them a while to spoil non-refrigerated. You can probably have a pack of them for a good week. I brought a package of tortillas with me on the Lost Coast Trail and several other longer backpacking trips I've been on. Never had a problem with spoilage. Of course, there's limits. You're not going to want them in there for months, but you get tortillas enough for a week's worth in your supply box, and you should be fine, and things like that. But you get the old standby of oatmeal, of course, that works. Again, hot or cold, so if you're a cold soaker, you don't want to cook, you can still do that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of protein supplements and powders you can use. And there's also no rule against doing some of your lunches or dinners for breakfast. If you just don't, you don't have to have exclusively breakfast food for breakfast. And you don't necessarily have to only eat these at breakfast. If you want this for dinner, go ahead. Do them for dinner. The good thing about these, by the way, is again, they're light, they're dehydrated. You just add water, and they are a multitude of flavors. So you get a variety in there. Some people say you get tired of it. Okay, yeah, maybe you do. But I mean, this one's maple and brown sugar, but there's apples out there. There's a bunch of different fruit ones. Nowadays, there's pumpkin spice. There's all kinds of flavors for that kind of thing that will help you from getting that overkill on it and things like that. Oh, and the hiker breakfast burrito, like I was saying, you spread. I got off track there. You spread your Nutella peanut butter down. You get one of those little packages of cereal, the little mini boxes and stuff. You spread that down, roll it up. Hiker breakfast burrito. You don't even have to cook, and you get some good calories in there to start your day. There's a lot of folks out there who need coffee in the morning. I am not one of them, so I don't tend to bring that with me. But that's out there too. There's all kinds of instant coffees and different ways to do that. So there are some basic options for hiking and backpacking for food out there that go beyond the just buy a semi-expensive packet of backpacker food. There's all kinds of stuff that you can get for under $1 that work out on the trail. And if you're doing long through hikes, long distance hikes, where you're going to be resupplying, I suggest you go for some of those options to try and mitigate your costs and also your weight, because they're fairly light. And that's my take on suggestions for backpacking food. Agree, disagree, you have any other suggestions that I didn't put out there? Because I know I probably missed some. Let me know at hikingforhealthca@gmail.com or in the comments below. Or you can get a hold of me on my Instagram, hikingforhealthca, same title on my page at Facebook. And that's about it. We will see you next time.